Welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that whenever I post a video, you'd be notified. So today I'll be talking about how to secure a supervisor. This is for people who are preparing for spring 2024, right, or fall of 2024. So you might be wondering, what does it mean to secure a supervisor? It can entail a lot of things for different people. It means so many things for different people, right? So securing a supervisor means you have someone who you would be learning under. Like, they would be your mentor, they would be your advisor while you are in school. It kind of makes the journey easy for you because they are your go-to person, right? And your area of interest, your area of research interest is also there. So you have to like start on way ahead in your graduate school journey to work on areas that you really like. Maybe do research, publish papers according to your area. It also entails funding for a lot of people. Now, if you're working with a supervisor or if you're attached to a professor who is doing some research, right, you are most of the time their research assistant, and this kind of position comes with tuition waiver and stipend, right? So for people who are preparing for fall of 2024, these are three simple ways, three unique ways, right, for you to get a supervisor before even applying to that school. In fact, most of the time I usually advise people to get a supervisor before even applying to a school. It is not mandatory. You can submit blind applications. Like, blind application means you can submit an application without contacting anybody in the school. It is perfectly fine, and people do it and they still get admission and funding, right? But now getting a supervisor makes it easier for you because you already have someone who is in the school, who approves of your work, who wants you to work for them, right? Most of the time they actually you actually go through interview, right, with them personally before even submitting your application. When they are okay with what you have discussed with them via an interview, they will then prompt you to submit an application. It makes it easy. So when you submit an application, you don't really have to go for extra layer of interview, right? Because they are okay with your application, your profile, and you're coming. So when you come, you are attached to them as an RA. RA is another form of graduate assistantship, but then you'll be doing research with the professor. So the most traditional way to get a supervisor is basically through the institutional website, or through the institution's website, or through adverts. So on LinkedIn, if you're very active on LinkedIn or Twitter or some other platforms, there are people or professors who tweet it or make posts about vacancies in their labs, or schools, right, that make posts about vacancies in their lab. They need people, they need RA, they need these. So this is one way that you are going to secure a supervisor. Another way is you going to the school's email, looking through the faculty's website, looking through the faculty page, looking for a faculty member or a professor whose interest aligns with yours. So you email them before even submitting an application. This process is known as cold emailing, right? So apart from these two methods that I've mentioned, here are three like unconventional methods, three unique, I wouldn't say unconventional, three unique ways that you would follow to secure a supervisor. One, book or article references. So for example, if you're going for a PhD or an MA, you'd be ready for research. So there is a research part of MA and there is the industry part of MA, right? So if you're doing the whole research part of it, whether in academia or in the industry, you're doing a research regardless. And I believe that you would have an area of interest where you'd be performing this research. Apart from having an area of interest, you would also be reading papers and articles, right? So that is it. Let me take myself for instance, right? If I am interested in artificial intelligence and journalism, I am interested in probing it further, especially doing research in academia, I should be reading papers in artificial intelligence and journalism, or automated journalism, or human machine communication, right? So if I am reading these papers, at the end of the paper you see reference or bibliography, right? So on the list of references, that is the place that you're going to find list of works cited in the paper. One thing that people don't know is most of those authors or researchers are affiliated with a lot of institutions here in the United States most of the time, or even outside the United States. Now, depending on your interest, if your interest is in the United States, when you flip through the reference list, you're going to pick up their names, pick up the names of the authors, search them on Google, and then know their institutional affiliation. Now, you're doing so many things here. You have established through interest, right? You are reading an article that is related to that person's interest. And now, if you're searching for them online, you may also see an article written by them that you can read. And then when you read it, you are exposed to new ideas, right? You're exposed to new inquiries and questions that you want to probe further. Now you can proceed to ask them, you can proceed to cold email them and ask them if they have openings for RA, that is research assistant. So you look them up on Google, read their recent research papers, then read their recent research papers, develop new interests and new inquiry that you want to probe. You can then go ahead to email them. So sometimes people ask, how are you sure that they have openings in their lab? Well, it's a game of number. So another good news is that if it's a recently published paper that you've read, maybe say 2021 or 2022, this also intends that this professor is an active researcher. They are researching, they are currently writing one thing or another. They are active researchers in that field. So you can go ahead and email them. In that email, you should be citing papers that you've read. If there is any recent one about them that you've read, you're going to cite it. You're going to also bring about curiosity that emerge from reading their papers. If there are other extended curiosity that you have regarding the field, you can also raise it in that email. Remember that when you are writing a cold email, you should also bear in mind that you would submit your transcript and your CV. If you qualify, you're going to get called for an interview. Sometimes they will prompt you to then officially apply for an admission. It happens. Number 2 on my list, ResearchGate, academia.eu, or Google Scholar. These are my 3 go-to platforms when I'm looking for articles or papers that I want to use for my literature review. So for ResearchGate, it's like a social media platform for researchers, academic researchers, right? Where people post their papers and articles. And then same thing with academia.edu. And then there is Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a free web search engine that indexes different publishing formats of literature, of different types of literature or academic articles across different disciplines. Most big publishing houses are indexed on Google Scholar, so I think it's the largest. So you go to Google Scholar or academia.eu or ResearchGate, you type your area of discipline. For example, I am interested in human machine communication or artificial intelligence and communication or journalism. I can just go on Google Scholar or academia.edu or ResearchGate and type it. So as a graduate student, I usually tell people to master the art or skill of keyword search. So when you use this keyword search, human machine communication, input it there, you're going to see lots of articles talking about the same thing in your area of interest. So most of the time, you also click their name, you also pick up their name, search it on Google, and then see their institutional affiliation, and then email them if they have opening for RA. The last but not the least is your social media platform. Yes. So I usually tell people that your social media platform is like your representative online. It's like your face online, right? I would say keep it controversy free. On Twitter or LinkedIn, you can actually get supervisors or professors from these platforms I remember in 2021 when I was looking for admission, I have 3 professors that DM'd me, like they wrote me direct messages via Twitter if I am looking to apply to their program. Now, why did they even do that? Because I had searched for their handles, right? I was following them, I was engaging in their tweets because I liked their area of expertise. So I was engaging in their tweets. The way I was engaging in their tweets and giving meaningful insights, 3 of them DM'd me on Twitter. They were like, hey, are you interested in our program? Blah, 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 blah. Right? So, but then in all of these 3 schools, they were really top schools. HND happened to me, right? The schools are not accepting HND. And that was why it ended like that. But then imagine if you had a BSc and that kind of thing happened to you. Imagine a professor walking up to you and asking you that kind of question. You can literally pick up that conversation from there. And that is it. You are getting a position of an RA. You're getting that position of an RA, and by extension, big scholarship to study and achieve your dream or goal in life. Right? The same thing on LinkedIn. You can literally go on LinkedIn or Twitter, type something like human machine communication. On LinkedIn, if you type something like that, it's going to bring out posts by default. You can click on people. You are going to see people who has included that kind of your keyword search on their profile. You're going to see like professors, human machine communication, or the same thing on Twitter. When you search that kind of keyword, you're going to see tweets related to human machine communication. When you click on people, you're going to see people who has inserted that kind of area of interest on their profile. You're going to see mostly professors. So when you see this kind of thing, you follow them, you take up their email, you take up their names, and then go to Google, get their emails, and then email them. Sometimes you can engage in their tweets or posts, and that is it. 3 unique ways for you to secure a supervisor. Remember, number 1 is through an article or book reference. Number 2, Google Scholar platform, ResearchGate, or academia.edu. Number 3, social media platform. Yes, these are 3 unique ways that will help you in securing a supervisor before even sending in that your application. Like I always say, it is better to have the approval of a supervisor even before sending in your application than sending in blind application. This is not to say that blind application does not work. It actually works. So that is all from me from now. I wish you all the best. I'm here to help you succeed. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that whenever I post a video,